She's not pretty.
You're joking, but first one to the Philippines.
Okay, so how much red do I need?
8%. More.
Yeah, about as much as what you put in for yellow.
Red is the color that most people end up getting in trouble with. They make the red too strong, and they end up with a cherry red on their carpet. We need just enough red to bring that yellow to a yellowish orange. We do not want a reddish orange. Okay? Always open the dye over the water, over your container. Tiny amount. Again, that's really good news for you. It means your dye kit is going to last you a very long time. 5 drops of striking agent. So to make your jobs go quicker, while you're waiting for the bleach neutralizer to work, you can make up your colors, save time. So by the time you extract, your colors are ready to go. And after I fix this one, I'm going to demonstrate how I would fix something like this by mixing all of my colors together. The entire job will take 6 minutes. 5 of those minutes are just waiting for the bleach neutralizer to work. Okay, we're going to take half a liter of hot water. Remember, light colored carpets require very light color formulas. I can use the same syringe.
And you can use the same syringe because you're using very light colours, right?
Even if it's dark colors. Yeah, it's no problem to use the same
Chris,
syringe.
did you put a striking agent in there?
Yeah. Okay, so there's my red. Look at it against a white background. See, it's very, very faint. Almost looks like plain water. All right, so I'm going to test it on one fiber. What am I testing for? I want to add just enough red to make it look like this. If my red is too strong, it's going to start taking on that cherry color. See that? Yeah. So that's what we're looking for.
Are the dyes non-toxic?
They are non-toxic. And again, the SDS information is posted in the dye lot. The dyes are completely non-toxic. We've done lots of daycare facilities where we have to furnish them with the non-toxicity information.
I was just thinking...
The White House, they wanted to make sure we're not trying to poison the president.
I was thinking more along the lines if the customer's dog comes along behind you and starts drinking one of your dyes behind you.
No problem. The dog would be pissing a rainbow, but they're non-toxic. Okay, so I'm testing it on one fiber. Actually, you guys remember Lucky, my dog that got me into the business? Yeah. She was a white English setter. We used to dye her blue and purple. One time the newspaper took a picture of it, and said, look at the blue dog. And we got a lot of exposure out of it. Some people were furious. They were furious. The poor animal, and we're like, the dyes are non-toxic, but it's like you'll dye your hair, but you're worried about the dog.
What about the cat? Can you dye the cat?
Sure, why not?
As long as the cat dies.
Okay, so I don't see that bright red cherry color. So I'm going to put a frame around the outside. Remember, this bleach spot started out looking like these. They all are basically the same color. I'll put a frame around the outside. Now, as you're doing this, you should be continually comparing it with your app. Some of you yesterday, when you were working, your app wasn't even open. And I walked up and I'm thinking, how do you know how much color to add if your app isn't open? So make sure your app is open, put a frame around it, fill in the center, and you see what it's doing? Yeah. It's changing that yellow to what?
An orange.
To a yellowish orange. That's the key, a yellowish orange. We don't want a reddish orange. We don't even want a neutral orange. We do not want equal amounts of red and yellow. We want a yellowish orange because in our target, we have a yellowish orange as the 2 dominant colors. Got to be careful with the red. It's really easy to go too strong with the red. If you add too much red, what's going to happen when you go to add blue, the blue says, I see lots of red, and blue and red want to make purple. So that looks pretty good right there. I'm going to stop. If it needs more, I can always put in more later.
So if you do go too much in and it goes purple, what do we do to bring it back?
You tell me. If it looks purple, first thing you do is identify the problem. It looks purple. What is a purple?
Purple is a little red.
So what would you do?
Put more yellow.
Yellow.
A bit of yellow.
Okay.
Fortunately, the eye is easily fooled. When you add the yellow, it's not removing the purple. It works with it to bring it back into the correct color family.
Could it be too dark that the yellow's not
It's
doing
possible.
it? And that's where you have to bleach and
Yes.
start again.
What did I do wrong right there? Anybody catch what I did wrong?
Do it again.
I didn't check my fingers before I touched the carpet. Get in the habit of doing that, okay? Just get in the habit of checking your fingers. Okay, I'm tempted to put more red, but I'm going to resist. If it needs more red, I can always add it later. Okay, so I'll move on to my final color, which is blue. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Half a liter. And I do think it's an excellent idea, instead of keeping these here where they could be knocked over, much better to keep them in here. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, make sure the top is on.
Works well with orange.
Absolutely. Open it over the water. Now blue is the color that I need the least of. How much blue do I need?
7.
It's only 7%. Okay, that's very little. And the blue dye is the strongest dye. So I'm just going to use a tiny little amount there.
So 7% of the dye that you possibly wouldn't use would just be the yellow.
Anything under 7%.
I know that blue is the color, in a beige, blue is the color that there's the least of. So I got to be really careful. Right now, what color is the spot?
Orange.
So what's the missing color?
Blue.
Blue. The missing color is always what? The solution to the problem, but the missing color
Could be
is
the most
also
dangerous.
So you
most
can't,
dangerous
you can't
color.
skip it because it clearly needs it.
The missing color is the most dangerous color, because if I add too much of it, I'm going to completely change color families, and it's going to go green. It would go green because the most dominant color is yellow. So here's my blue against a white background. Very, very weak. That might be too weak. Better to be too weak than
But
too
then you
strong.
could just keep applying it, couldn't you?
I can either make it stronger or repeated applications.
Thanks,
So
a priest.
my blue, I need 7% more. Right now, my blue in my fade is at 22. What's 22 plus 7?
29.
29. So there's what it'll look like with the right amount of blue. What if my blue is too strong?
It'll go nuts.
See, it starts looking green.
So realistically, that step there, you're really just trying to get back to the original colour of the carpet.
You are, but I do think it's a good idea to get an idea of what's it going to look like if my blue is too strong.
Fair enough.
Okay, so test it on 1 or 2 fibers. What am I looking for? I'm looking to see if it's turning green.
Yeah.
Doesn't look green, so I'm going to proceed with caution. Put a frame around the outside. Make sure not to get any of the dye outside of the bleached area. And then fill in the center. That's the most rewarding part, because when you start filling it in, it's quickly fixing it.
It still look a little bit orange.
It does, and so I'm doing repeated applications. Rather than making my blue stronger, I'm not making the blue stronger because I can definitely see that it's moving the color.
So would you keep applying it before you do the extraction? Like, would you go, again, keep adding 10 mils at a time, or would you extract and then add?
I might go over it 2 or 3 times and then extract.
And then have
Yep.
a look? Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
There is no problem of overwetting the carpet or things like that, or not?
Yeah, it is possible. So if the carpet is too wet, what's going to happen is that moisture is going to be diluting the color that I'm trying to add. So this is my 3rd application of blue. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead